Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Maker. During the last part, I covered 7 levels that were shared on the Mega Maker official subreddit's weekly level sharing thread. So in this part, I'll be covering at least 5 or 6 levels that were shared to the Mega Maker official forum's level sharing subforum. So starting out with this level, I randomly picked a bunch of levels to go through, so in terms of quality, length, etc. are going to be very different. And as usual, to see the full disclaimer of my Mega Maker LP, just check a link to the description below, I'll always include it. Moon-Based Landing by 7 Trust, 21 plays and a score of 8. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. They made a bunch of levels too. And as usual, if you want to have your levels featured in a future part, please leave the ID or name of the level below, in a comment or as a direct message on Twitter. Okay, Mega Man 4 Charge Physics, a quick boomerang and a rush coil, and we start up with all of these skeleton Joes. At least we have the Mega Man 4 physics, so we can at least one-hit kill them. Nice introduction of those moving enemies. That beak camouflaged into the background there. The blue beak camouflaged the blue background. I'm not gonna risk that. A little bit of a tight jump there, but it's not too bad. We're introduced into the middle of the thick of things, and I suppose we're entering the moon base now. Although it doesn't look like we're on the moon. Oh, I should have moved faster there. And we have to quickly go through all these electrical guard barriers. Okay, there's a beak over there. Let me take care of the beaks first. A caterpillar. Yeah, some of the background and foreground elements kind of get mixed together due to coloring, unfortunately. And I can already tell this is more of a challenge-based stage because the introduction of gimmicks is not really the gimmicks are not introduced in a safe environment. They're kind of introduced in a way that the developer assumes that you've already seen them before. I was a bit worried when the screens decided to scroll over there. Good placement of checkpoints there. Sure, let's go for this. I'm gonna damage boost off of this, of course, just in case. I've had not the best of luck with precision jumping in the previous part. You may notice that from all the jump cuts in all of the puzzle levels. I'm hoping that I won't get it too challenging levels like Laser Racer was in the previous part, because that would be quite annoying and it would slow down the progression of the part, because at the end of that part, I got really tired due to a combination of levels like Laser Racer and in that base level where we had a bunch of enemies, or the enemy spammy level. Again, I died. Making that jump is a little bit too precise for me, or it's a little bit problematic. I'll see if I can damage boost off the prop tops next time. There we go. Again, I should just jump into the ceiling there. Okay, I made it this time. 5th time's the charm, I suppose. But really, at least 2 or 3 of those deaths should not have happened. I wasn't touching the spike corridor there. I've repeated this complaint over and over, and I'm sounding like a broken record. I'll just announce it once or twice per part instead, so you don't have to hear my ranting over and over. Okay, small teleporter maze over here. Let's see which route is the correct one. There we go. And at last we're at the end of the stage. Just that one spike wall was the most difficult part of the stage, and I think it was more due to the engine's problems, more than what the level designer intended to be that difficult. I don't think they intended that section to be that difficult, that's for sure, especially considering the boss of Sparkman's right over here. I'm just gonna damage boost my way and finish off the boss this way. And that was the end of the Moonbase Landing. Nice, more Fortress-like level. Nice challenge progression, although some of the percent jumps can be a bit annoying. And I didn't expect that one jump near the end, or at least that ceiling of spikes and that wall of spikes to be that difficult. I don't think his 7 Trust intended that to be. Oh well. Chalk that up to the growing number of complaints with the engine's spike hitboxes. Second up is Search Snake the Sniper by Pyhrrous. Pyhrrous, or however you pronounce it, sorry. 9 plays and a score of 2. I suppose this will be a gimmick-based level showcasing usage of the Search Snake. I'm hoping it's not too much of a challenge. I'm hoping it's more like What's the Hold-Up instead of something like that slide though. Okay, we have Search Snake, we have 2 options, I'll take the left one. Guess not. I guess I have to take the right route then. Okay, showcasing how the Search Snake can coil up walls, or run up walls. Especially here. I pressed the A button, didn't register. Still, at least it's not too far back. And the reason why I complain so much of the engine is that I feel it has so much more potential, and I feel like it can be taken further, and I'm a bit concerned that some of the bugs with the engine, or oversights, or certain unintended features, or advanced features may turn away some players, if they're not made well aware of them, or if they're not fixed or changed. At least that's my personal opinion. But from all of the game time I've had of the Mega Maker engine, well, I feel it's like a great tool for burgeoning, beginner, and intermediate skilled Mega Man level designers. I don't know how much of use it's going to be for advanced Mega Man level designers who want to take it further, but I suppose there's stuff like the Mega Man 2 engine, aka Make a Good Mega Man Level 2 contest engine, which allows for more flexibility, so I suppose there's that. After all, there can be a bunch of different engines. There's no problem with having multiple engines at once. After all, the only problem with Mega Man 2 is that you need to create your own executable with the levels included, and it could be a whole bunch of security hazards with infected files and whatnot. It's so much more convenient to create a stage in Mega Maker, especially with the more intuitive UI that's similar to from Mario Maker. And then, with a click of a button, upload it. Whereas with the Mega Man 2, you have to find a location to share your levels, create executable, and make sure you have enough people who trust the engine enough so that they don't get worried about getting viruses. Sneaky. I don't think jumping into the wall there was intended, though. Again, my fault. I'll get it this time. Or when I get back up there. I mistimed my jump. It seems that these Yoku blocks do not run on a global timer. That's interesting. In several other games, Yoku blocks or disappearing reappearing blocks run on a global timer. We're actually getting, well, that was actually easier than the previous challenge. At least they're slowly ramping up the difficulty. That's quite appreciated. And none of the Yoku block challenges in this stage have been too jerkish. I expected that to happen From my experience of many other Mega Man style stages, I knew they were going to place the Yoku block just above there. Call it foresight. Okay, now we have to take care of all these Ben Ks. So we gotta slide under them, or just run behind them and do it. That works too. And we have all the Puka Pellies who I make minced meat out of, plus I can keep throwing all these Surf Snakes above the Ben K's spear, or whatever they throw, so they're not a problem to be... They're not too much of a problem. But this stage does a good job of showcasing how useful the Surf Snake is in certain enemy configurations, especially when they're around walls, like the Puka Pellies. And a nice touch of using the Surf Snake's background and music and tile set. I just wish we had the big snaky mini-boss from this stage. Or even Snake Man himself. Okay, stuff is getting more challenging. We have to make sure we always stay on these platforms so we don't die. Oh, I guess that's the end of the stage then. Pretty nice stage, nice progression of difficulty, and nice showcase of all the Surf Snake's abilities. It's not as flexible as the NATO was, or the Shine, or even the Charge Kick was, so I suppose that limits the number of challenges you can have. Oh, Sparkman. I see what you want me to do here. So we need to hit Sparkman by arcing it up these platforms. Neat! That's actually a creative usage of it. Unfortunately, Sparkman is not weak against this. No worries, as long as I keep him up here, it's fine. I can instantly hit... That's strange. I can instantly hit Sparkman from up here for some reason. Yeah, it seems like the snakes automatically just jump up to the top if I hit the snake at the corner of this block. They instantly teleport upwards. That's an odd bug. And that was the end of Surf Snake Sniper. Pretty good stage, nice showcase of the Surf Snake's abilities, but I would like to take it a little bit further with a more difficult stage environment. But otherwise, good job, Pyhrrous. I'll definitely give it a thumbs up. Third on the list is Plants vs. Steel by Fang Kanji. 18 plays and a score of 12. Boy, I'm getting a bunch of good rated levels. In the previous part we had more variation in terms of levels, but here most of these levels are positively rated. The lowest scoring one was Surf Snake Sniper, which I think it was 2. Oh, and just like Surf Snake Sniper, we only have a focus on one gimmick. We get an E-Tank, but we only have access to the plant barrier. Interesting, this is the first stage where we are forced to use the plant barrier, and so we have infinite usage of it. Or we're forced to only use the plant barrier, which basically means now we have infinite healing potentially with all enemies who fire projectiles, as you can see right over here. Unfortunately, I don't think I can I throw this? No, I can't throw the plant barrier, unfortunately. I think that was lost from Mega Man 6. But to be fair, considering I have infinite healing, it's not too much of a worry. As long as there's no instant death spikes or a lot of hits, my threat of dying is really low. Unless there are enemies who attack with barely any physical attack, who attack only using physical attacks, like maybe the Big Eyes. They're one of the only enemy types who attack by just trying to ram into me or crush into me. Most other enemies will just use projectile attacks like here. So they're no problem at all. Not to mention the plant barrier seems to deal an upgraded amount of damage too. As you can see right here, it just made minced meat out of that Hammer Joe in just 3 hits. Oh, okay, so just like what's the hold up, we have to be careful where we use the plant barrier. As you can see here, we may destroy the platforms you need to get across. Good progression difficulty. So the first section of the stage, the one before the first checkpoint, illustrated how powerful the plant barrier is in terms of regenerating health and nullifying most enemy projectiles. But here now it's demonstrating we can't really spam it, otherwise we'll destroy the footholds that we need to get across. I totally expect there to be some big eyes that we have to get across somehow. Those are going to be the most annoying enemies to get around with. The Tonderos, or whatever they're called, those rotating enemies, they're also one of the enemy types who are a little bit more annoying. I can one-shot them, but with combinations of enemies who fire projectiles, it can be a little bit problematic. And of course, there's also the force beams there. So we gotta be careful. Oh, I'm forced to take damage here, but I can always just regenerate all the health I lost by just using the plant barrier, as you can see here. If I didn't have the ability... If all these peaks weren't here, I would have died. I wouldn't be able to make it across. But because I have that, well, I can regenerate all my health pretty fast due to all the projectiles. Also, nice placement of checkpoints. Bravo. And now time for the fight against Nightman. Oh! Wait a minute. I didn't realize you could absorb Nightman's mace using a plant barrier and it turn it into health. That seems quite powerful, actually. Because it leaves him vulnerable for quite a while. Neat! Thank you for showcasing that. Yeah, if I can just absorb Nightman's mace, I can easily just make minced meat out of him because he'll always keep his shield out for an extended period of time. Nice to know, and thanks for showcasing that exploit. Good job, Fang_Kanji. Definitely my favorite level out of this part. Fourth level on the lineup is Woodland Factory Crisis by Nikluk. 26 plays and a score of 3. Okay, this is one of those stages which is taking a lot longer to load, so I suppose this will be one of the longer stages. And of course, now I remember to actually skip the stages. Okay, we have a bunch of nice special weapons, good. And I also have the Crash Bomber, so I can easily just deal with the Sniper Joes. Okay, we have Mega Man 3 physics too, no charge shot. I'm just gonna use this. Of course, now that I learned about the Search Snake, I might as well just spam it more. Oh, footholders. I see what you want me to do there. I'm just gonna use Crash Bomber. Might as well just deal with it quickly. Oops, I mispositioned that. At least I was in the firing arc. I'm just gonna Magnet Missile this. Oh, Gumball Machine. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, we're forced to use Crash Bomber here, but we have infinitely respawning tellies, so it's not much of a problem if we run out. Oh! I'm gonna risk it. Oh, that was not what I expected. Nah, I'm not gonna risk it now. Especially with this low health, I don't think I'll survive another firebar hit. Down we go. And we have the introduction of all these medium force beams. That does not inspire confidence in me. Well, I suppose this illustrates that we're entering the factory. Also, we have a more factory-like environment now with the Sparkman tiles and the Heatman tile set, I believe. This is one of those places where I really wish I had the plant barrier. I'm not taking any chances. Any wrong hit will kill me. Oh, whoa. Why is it not... Why wasn't it not just turning upwards there? That was strange. Thank you for the proper checkpoint placement there. I'm just gonna kill myself here because I'm so low on health. Plus, I'm just right next to the checkpoint. I have infinite lives, so I have nothing to worry about. If I had a limited number of lives like in the previous Mega Man fan game I played, well, I would worry a lot more. And I'll just try trudging onwards. Oh, thank you for the large life pickup. The precise jumping there, I should have jumped out of there. I should have jumped again on this Shadow Man platform. There we go, that's how you do it. Yikes, that sudden transition really spooked me there. Nah, I already got an M-Tank, I'm not gonna risk it. If this was a classic Mega Man fan game, sure, I would have risked it. Why did the explosion cancel itself out there? That's really strange. I'm hoping all these force beams aren't just a early reminder that force beams are coming up. Oh yeah, also nice illustration showcasing that, well, we have a water segment coming up. If there's another thing I'd like in this engine, well, that's also another suggestion for many other Mega Man fan games, is to, in the rooms preceding or while in the same room that you're forced to use a certain weapon, make it so that the tellies or whatever enemy that's respawning actually have a higher chance of dropping items. That would be really appreciated. So it really speeds up the waiting time. Forced usage of rush coil in these locations. At least they're respawning tellies. And that's the end of the stage. Thankfully there were no force beams there. I guess these are all just for show. And I suppose those are all the laser conduits for this area, for the factory. What's his weakness? We need to get above him, that's... No, it's not that, thankfully. Okay, it's the Surge Snake, wonderful. I'm just gonna spam an E-Tank there. I mean M-Tank. Fighting Cutman here, especially with his more spastic movement in these environments or close quarters, it can be a problem. Especially with those instant death spikes at the top. But if you can lure him down, it's fine. Well, this was certainly a fun, more traditional styled Mega Man stage. Pretty nice, and it's, well, my favorite traditional style Mega Man stage of the bunch. My favorite stage out of the bunch so far would be now Plants vs. Steel, of course, but still, this is an honorable mention. So good job, Nikluk. Fifth on the lineup today is Burstman Mega Man 7 by RetroGamerAaron. 34 plays and a score of 16. This is the highest rated stage out of the bunch so far. And based off the name, I suppose it's a remix of Burst Man's stage from Mega Man 7. I don't know how it'll be done. We have Bomb Man, because Burst Man's weapon was the Danger Wrap, a bomb-type weapon. And we have Gravity Man's team. After all, we don't have the musical tracks from Mega Man 7, unfortunately. Burst Man's stage for Mega Man 7, the main gimmick was, of course, the water. Well, it was a medicinal lab, essentially. So the main gimmicks were water, time bombs, and a certain thing we'll see later on, or we'll see how it's replicated. Alright, this definitely reminds me of a Burst Man's introduction of the count bombs there. Although in Mega Man 7, the screen size, or at least Mega Man compared to Mega Man, was a lot bigger. It took a lot more of the screen in Mega Man 7. So it seems like the stage is a bit smaller, but in reality, it's just that we can see more of the stage at once compared to the original game. Because Mega Man occupied more of the screen in Mega Man 7, so it felt the stage was a bit larger. In reality, well... But in reality, well... It's not that the stages are smaller, I think it's about the same size. It's just that we can see a lot further. There's the same placement of the E-Tank. We also had a beacon, that's part of the stage too. So far, so good. And they're using a close enough tile set. The bomb there yep, we have the water segment. The original enemies, if I recall correctly, were more bubble-type enemies, but unfortunately we don't have them there. But we have a close, I believe a close substitute with all those Tondaroos and those tadpoles. And of course we start off with the charge shot, Mega Man 6 I suppose. I know that the charge shot was nerfed a little bit more in Mega Man 7, with the charge rate taking a little bit longer. And the damage being nerfed to 2, I think. Unfortunately I slipped right between the bombs there. Yeah, I don't think it was possible in Mega Man 7 to slip through the bombs. Like in that segment, you had to wait before this bomb actually blew up before you could move forward. But here I can just slip right through them. I already took the right route this time, so I'll take the left one. Still, it's as close as a faithful reproduction as it can be, especially with the missing tile sets. It will be neat comparing this recreation with the remix from Mega Man 7 D-Make, as that one's a lot more faithful, but of course they have the ability to custom make assets, so of course they would be. So let's be a little bit more careful this time. This is where we're going to the water. Have to dodge these spikes. Unfortunately we don't have the dive mets either, we only have the regular mets. Close enough though. The close enough substitute are the Mega Man 2 mets. And of course you have to be careful while jumping here because of the spikes at the top. In the original stage, what would happen is the water would go up and down, so you have to be a lot more careful when modulating your jumps. But here it's constant, so it kind of removes some of the challenge of the stage, unfortunately. But we don't have the waves moving up and down in the engine yet, that gimmick. And here we would enter this boss door and fight a mini-boss, a giant crab. But here instead we fight a gumball, because of course this engine is missing the mini-bosses. And then what would happen then is the water would start rushing upwards, pushing Mega Man upwards, or forcefully pushing him upwards, and you have to go left and right dodging the spikes. So instead we have all these platforms from Mega Man 3 which will take us upwards instead. See, the spike placement is the same, but the thing is though, the water doesn't automatically push us upward, unfortunately. But like I said, it's because this engine doesn't support it, so it's a close enough substitute. And of course there is a large life pickup energy there, and the checkpoint placement was definitely there. So far, I'm pretty much liking the stage. It feels like as close as a faithful reproduction of Burst Man's stage. This is also the first place we're introduced to the Yoku blocks. But of course the room over there was certainly smaller for that. And of course in Mega Man 7 the gameplay was a little bit, how should I say it, a bit slower paced so that players wouldn't... It was a bit slower paced due to the screen being a bit smaller, or the player not being able to see much more of the world or as they could in the NES titles. That's why it was slowed down just a tad. But here, of course, it's we can see more, so it's a bit faster. Also, this segment would be the last one, I believe, the second and last one, where the water would be moving up and down. Because here you would have to ride up the water, and then you'd be able to reach the M-tank. Here you're forced to use the rush coil. I pressed the A button, it didn't register again. Still, checkpoint placement is pretty much exactly the same as it was in Mega Man 7, so I'm not complaining. And in the original game, there was actually, instead of there being this rolling enemy, there was actually indestructible with the Mega Buster spine moving around there. Oh, that's another glaring omission that this engine has. The omission of spines. I mean, spines have been a staple enemy since Mega Man 1, I believe, and their glaring omission from this engine's enemy list is quite baffling to me. I mean, they're a rather easy enemy type to implement. They're an enemy that always moves left and right until they hit a wall and switch their direction. Some of them will increase their speed if Mega Man is on the same ground level as they are. Some of them will shoot up at Mega Man if he matches his or goes right over them, etc. So I find their mission quite odd. Yikes! Still, these jumps can be a bit scary if you're not careful. In the original game, of course, because the moving waves going up and down, it wasn't too scary, but here, a lot more. And now it's time for the battle against, well, Bomb Man. We still have the spike platform with spikes at the top, but unlike the Burst Man fight, well, we have no risk of getting skewered on the spikes above. At least we have a Bomb-type Roadmaster to represent the Burst Man, who is a Water/Bomb-type Roadmaster himself. Essentially, in his fight, he had the ability to create bubbles, the Danger Wrap, which could encase you and carry you up to the spikes at the top, which would then instant-kill you if you got hit. Of course, you could burst out of them by rapidly pressing the Mega Buster. Or of course, you could summon bubbles at the bottom, which would push Mega Man upwards and into the ceiling if he wasn't careful. And of course, that battlefield in Mega Man 7 was a lot smaller, and there was a lot less space to maneuver around. But otherwise, I would say that Aaron did a very good job at replicating the Burst Man stage in this game's engine, especially with all the missing assets. It was a clever technique to use Gemini Man's tile set instead of the Medicinal background. It's close enough, and most of the gimmicks, at least the ones that were in Burst Man stage, were replicated rather faithfully, those being the Count Bomb and the Water segment. And the segment where Mega Man is pushed upward is substituted with that block segment, so I think it's pretty close, and he did a very good job, so I'll definitely add this to my favorites list. It's one of the best remasters/remixes of an original stage, Mega Man stage I've seen. More like a remaster, to be fair. Or a demake. Let's see here. Sixth on the lineup is 11 Control Zone by Chungdan. 10 plays and a score of 1. If I recall what the description was in the level selection, this is a challenge room where it demonstrates how you're supposed to use each of the special weapons and how you can get through each of the stages or get through each of the segments with all of the unique characteristics of each of the special weapons. We basically have a full load here, and we have almost all of the special weapons, excluding the Tornado, unfortunately, although there would be room for the Tornado because we have one extra slot, I believe. Maybe, I think. But at least we come out with about 10 special weapons, so we have almost all of them on par. We're missing stuff like the Plant Barrier, of course, so we can't really store all of our special weapons. As well as the aforementioned NATO. So from what I remember from the description, this is a puzzle room, or puzzle gimmick, where each of the puzzle rooms will gradually get harder and harder, and it'll force you to use certain special weapons in order to get across, and in certain combinations, so you better understand how each of the special weapons are utilized in this game. And especially with some of the buffs that engines have been getting, it's really necessary. And apparently each of these challenge rooms will have their own checkpoint placement, so, well, if you get stuck or die, you won't be set too far. And it's nice that at the beginning of each of these sections, or in between each checkpoints, there is a sign of what special weapon you're supposed to be using. Like here, we're forced to use the metal blade because otherwise we can't get across. Or we're supposed to. We're supposed to actually shoot through that, but I just skipped the entire challenge. You're supposed to fire diagonally in order to destroy that block, but I skipped it. Here you're supposed to use the firestorm in order to destroy this block. Either from here, or on the top. It's best to do this on the top so you don't instantly die, and over here you're forced to use it at the top. Otherwise, if you do it on the right side, you'll die. Here we're going to be using the leg beam. Here we gotta be a bit careful and position ourselves upwards, which I completely failed. I need to stand back just a little bit, and of course I have to be a little bit careful so I don't get killed by the spikes, and then I can make the jump. Yeah, these are puzzle-based rooms, so the difficulty is gradually getting harder and harder. I suppose this is one of the first puzzle-based levels I've played so far. The closest one in the previous part was Teleblock Tower, but that was more of a timing/precision-based one. Okay, rolling cutter. I see, I need to do it above this block, otherwise it'll be knocked back. Same over here. Or rather, I need to position my shot just right so it passes through. Oh, so that's how you do it. You're supposed to jump at the apex of your jump against the top left of that wall, and then you'll be able to hit that area. Neat. I really like how this stage really tests your thinking and understanding of all these upgraded power-ups. Now for the shine. Oh. Oh, I see. There we go, that's how you were supposed to do it. I had the wrong idea before where I thought it was supposed to actually be at the bottom side, but in reality you have to wait for two of those arcing shots to happen with the shotmen, and then send one of those straight shots ahead. Nice challenge, it both demonstrates your understanding of how the shotman works and how the shine works in terms of bouncing. Also, thank you for putting a large web of energy here because, well, crash bombers take a lot of energy to use. Oh no, it's one of these ones. There we go, that's how you're supposed to do it. Sorry if I'm being a bit silent there. Thankfully, we also have access to the skull barrier to make this challenge a bit easier. It took a little bit of a while, but I got the pattern down. And thankfully we have the skull barrier, of course, due to all the spikes and hitbox problems. Oh no, I see what they want me to do here. I forgot I can also throw the skull barrier, and I have to be careful at avoiding the big shots so that the skull barrier doesn't dissipate while I'm walking on those spikes. Thankfully, I don't think I'll need to reuse the crash bomber again. Wait a minute. Well, that's one way of making the challenge a bit easier, or more manageable. Okay. I can't send it back, but I at least can reactivate it at the right time. There we go, I did a small tap jump there, so it wasn't really necessary. Okay, now we have to use the Pyhrrous shot. This is going to be the last level of the part, by the way. Oh no. Oh, okay, so the yellow force beams don't actually damage you over time, constantly. Instead, they do it like a regular enemy does. I see what they want me to do there. I need to charge up my Pyhrrous shot so I can actually hit these enemies from above, or hit these blocks from above. So hold down the fire button, and I should be okay. I just need to run past this so I don't instantly get killed. I'll take a bunch of damage here, sure. Can't jump. Engine. I keep saying it's the engine because I don't have this problem in many other Mega Man engines or fan games. Just this one. Well, and bad designed ones, but I don't consider them because this is a pretty well put together engine outside of the bugs I've been saying over and over. Even all the complaints I have about this engine, I still like it. It's just that I'm giving it so we have more ways of improving this engine. How are you supposed to get across there? We don't have a radiant barrier or something that can block lasers. Ugh, don't tell me I have to do tap jumps all over the place. Alright, after several dozen attempts I made it across. My goodness, that one challenge alone brought down the stage for me. If that challenge wasn't there, I would have liked the stage, but right now I can't give it a thumbs up. I would be favoring a thumbs down. I didn't mind the ability to use the Pyhrrous shot and destroy those blocks, but all those precision jumps over and over, it just is not fun for me. It completely destroyed the fun factor for the stage. I'm sorry. I said it time and time again, I'm not into those precision-based challenges. At least we have only 2 more challenges left to go. Okay, so for this one we need to bounce off of it at the right time, so Mario style, so we can get across without dying. And I got by. I guess this was a breeder challenge because this was much easier than the previous at least half a dozen challenges. Last but not least is the Sword Snake room, the hardest one. Okay, starting out relatively easy. Oh, I'm just gonna use the skull barrier. To be quite frank, I really don't want to die here. Oh no, I see. I see what they wanted me to do there. Well, it's not too far back, and of course, I see we only need at least 2 usages of the Sword Snake. That's why they gave it that way. Alright, now I see what I need to do. I need to send the Sword Snake on that top, and then, or just before I jump on the top and race to the right. Okay, I made it. Somehow I kept depressing the quick slide and never got hit by the spikes at the top. This was a lot easier than I expected it to be, and that was the end of 11 Control Zone level. My goodness, this was certainly a brilliant puzzle level, but unfortunately, the 9th challenge using the Pyhrrous shot really brought down the level for me. If that 9 challenge was reworked so there wasn't that precision jumping, or instead there was using the Pyhrrous shot's ability to fire diagonally, I would have been okay. But with all those force beam and precision challenging, well, I can't in good faith give this a thumbs up. That destroyed my fun factor with level, and, well, I'll be giving this a thumbs down, but the rest of its 10 challenges were really fun too, so I'll go neutral on this. Sorry, Chungdan. If that one segment was reworked, I'll definitely give this stage a thumbs up. Because they all demonstrated increasing difficulty how to use each of the power-ups or special abilities or special weapons Mega Man has access to in this engine, or at least most of them. And they use it in rather very creative ways that you may not notice until you try over and over and understand minute UI of each of these weapons. Well, that level definitely tuckered me out, so I guess this will be the end of this part. Overall, my favorite level out of this bunch would probably be Plants vs. Steel, Woodland Factory Crisis, or Burstman. Plants vs. Steel, of course, really nicely shown how you could use the plant barrier and a lot of fun, interesting characteristics, although I wish it could be taken further like What's the Holdup in more creative scenarios. After all, it is more flexible compared to the Gravity Hold, I suppose. Woodland Factory Crisis was a nice traditionally styled Mega Man stage, with a nice difficulty curve, introduction of gimmicks, etc. Burstman Mega Man 7 was a nice remaster of the Burstman stage from Mega Man 7 using this engine's assets, and had a nice number of substitutes for assets that were in Mega Man 7 but aren't in here. Moon-based landing was sort of mediocre, and the first segment, or the last segment where you had to go around the spike wall, was made a lot more difficult due to this engine's spike issues. And 11 Control Zone, well, that would have been a pretty nicely designed challenge / puzzle level, but that one segment with Fair of Shot, as I keep saying, really brought down the stage for me. So I can't really good faith give it a thumbs up. Well then, in the next part, I'll either cover a bunch of random levels, or I'll do a bunch of viewer submitted levels. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!